business relationship. Here is the college football playoff top 5, 10, 25 was released. Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, and Washington. You see Texas at 7, Alabama right behind them. And then you look down, Oklahoma State 15, OU and Kansas in the third set of 5. Down there as well, you have LSU, Notre Dame, and then Arizona. Good for them. K-State at 25. And there's the college football rankings, which leads to Ross Dellinger. He's doing this every week. I think it's great. And it's if because it's not, but it will be next year, if there was a 12-team playoff based on how everything is seeded, you would have Ohio State, Washington, Georgia, and Florida State waiting for somebody else after they play in the first round. Based on the rankings last night, Alabama would play Ole Miss, Michigan against Tulane. You go, wait a minute, Michigan, they would not have won the Big Ten title based on how this sets right now. Texas against Penn State, Oregon against Louisville, and then the teams move on and advance.
So this is the thing I love about this, in that right now the 4-team playoff, those 4 teams have to play each other. Ohio State, Washington, Georgia, Florida State would be playing. But now, if you're any one of those teams and you're terrified about who your opponent could be, there is somebody else that could beat them before you'd have to play them, which I thoroughly enjoy. Not that it would happen most of the time. Most of the things go chalk. That's how it goes. But say you really, really, really did not, like right now, most of America probably doesn't want to see Michigan in the title game. Well, there's several opportunities for that not to happen, and not just one. So, yes, there is, Michigan would probably roll Tulane, and they'd probably roll Washington. As good as Washington is, Michigan is just that good this year. But you never know, and that's what makes it enjoyable.
And they may not have to play that first game if they win the Big Ten by beating Ohio State straight up later in the year.
Look, if you're an Ohio State fan and the one matchup you don't want to see is Georgia, well, because you don't feel you can match up well against them, well, there's a way better chance you're not going to have to play them. So,
all right, I want to ask you guys something. This is, again, me saying this because I see where it says Alabama plays Ole Miss. Put that up, please, again, Garrett. There's no way they're going to do that. They're not going to have the season go on. I mean,
it's also there's 3 weeks left in the season. There's actually 4 weeks left in the season.
I'm telling you, if it got down to the end of the year, Craig and Paul, they're not going to let Alabama and Ole Miss play each other in the first round. They will figure out a way to move some of those other teams around so you would not have, unless there's just too many teams from the same conference that get into the who are not a part of the first 4.
Yeah, I agree with that, but my point is that that's what it is with 4 weeks to go in the season, so it may not end up like that. But, yeah, I mean, if there's a situation where at the end of the year, after all of the games are played and it was lined up that way, then, yeah, I'm sure they would try to find a way to not run it back with Alabama and Ole Miss, and you'd see that probably flipped. But there's really no need to do that for this. This is, the season with still a month to go, and so there's still a lot of big games for those 2 teams to play, so when all is said and done, they might not either one be in the playoff.
No, you're right.
So,
no,
I mean,
right.
I get your point, and, yeah, you don't want to have Michigan, Ohio State in a first-round game or, Alabama, Ole Miss in this case or any other, conference matchup necessarily. But, yeah, I think, that's a problem that you address when you get to the end of the road and every dust piece is settled and you say, oh, okay, yeah, here's the actual options, not what it looks like right now.
When we come